It was the fall of 1972, and I had a very small part in a production at the Washington Theater Club. After the performance, I was introduced to a very odd man who would change my life, well, forever. Well, we spoke for a few minutes. Well, I spoke and he yelled. I don't know exactly what the content was except for the last sentence, which was, "Be at Bias Studios tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. He yelled some more, he laughed, this maniacal laugh, and he disappeared into the night. Now, the next morning I went to Bias Studios, and there were a whole bunch of actors there, about half a dozen, waiting for Marvin, and he bolted in the room, and he was yelling, and he was handing out scripts, and he was assigning parts, and I was like a deer in the headlights. I didn't know what the heck this guy was doing. And he spotted me, and again, he laughed. That crazy laugh that either meant he loved you or you were in terrible trouble. He handed me a script and he said, "You're Norman. Don't fuck it up." I guess I didn't because, well, I wound up doing hundreds and hundreds of commercials with Marvin. And his patronage and his friendship during those times in Washington, they were very important to me and my family and my career. It developed into a friendship that lasted for 44 years. I'd moved to Los Angeles in 1975, but Marvin and I, we kept in touch. He would occasionally figure out a way to come out to Los Angeles and visit and do some work while he was here. But one of his visits was very different than the others because, well, to be honest with you, he never left. He stayed with me and my most tolerant wife and children and tried to get himself situated into the Hollywood scene. After, again, about 4 months, I said, "Geez, Marvin, how's your living situation going?" He said, "David, the situation is going to change." And he meant it. It did change. Stephen moved in with us also. Once again, my family said, sure, why not? And they were actually very good guests, and they eventually found their place to live. Now, Marvin, true to form, made Hollywood his home, along with writing for popular network TV shows like Murder, She Wrote and Heart to Heart, Fantasy Island. Marvin also helped create Hotspots. With Lauren Dreyfus and myself, we did commercials for just about every large agency and every movie studio that you can name. We did commercials for Superman. We did commercials for Oh God, You Devil, Predator. I remember his favorite one was Predator 2. He's in town with a couple of days to kill. He loved that one. We also did commercials for European Vacation. They went so far as to send Marvin to Italy to meet us to do commercials for European Vacation. What wonderful adventures we have. But Marvin became a little disenchanted with Hollywood, and he kept looking towards New York. New York, New York this, New York that. Oh, I love New York. I love New York. And one day he was gone. And once again, Marvin was recreating himself. Only this time was for keeps. He found his home. I've never known him happier, more satisfied, and more excited about his life. We continued to work together, even though he was a continent apart. We still talked at least once a week. We laughed. And I watched him soar. He was in his element. His endless energy propelled him into adventures that most can only dream of. He was with famous people on Monday, famous people on Tuesday. He would call me and he says, "Guess who I had dinner with?" And then he'd bring up a name and I would go, "You're kidding. Really?" He was so happy. He did everything. You want a magazine show? I'll give you a magazine show. You want an interview? I'll give you an interview. What do you want? What do you want? You want me to be Santa Claus? I'll be Santa Claus. And he became quite a personality on Fox News and quite a big contributor, to say the least. His adoration of his children and his grandchildren was mirrored in how they saw him and how they felt about him. His love of his friends was true, deep, and enviable. They were a source of joy that fed his spirit. Marvin, my sweet Marvin, will be missed. He will be missed dearly. But his laugh and the laughter he brought, well, they're certainly here to stay. Don't you think?